Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Rugged Adventures. Today I'm probably going to hurt some feelings because we're going to talk about why I think that the 4-seat RZR or UTV or whatever it is that you have is superior to the 2-seater in several different ways and in a couple of ways where it's obviously not. Stick around. But if this is your first time to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button for me. That really helps out this video and this channel in the YouTube algorithm. Okay, I basically have 3 reasons that I think that the 4-seater is much better than the 2-seater, whether you're looking at a RZR or a Ranger or General or whatever it is that you're using. I've only had Polaris side-by-sides, actually just Polaris side-by-side, just this one. But the biggest one for me is that you can just take more people along with you. Because, you know, if it's fun for just you or you and a friend, it's even more fun for you and 3 friends. Or if you have kids, like I do, you can take all your kids with you in one vehicle, you know, no problem. They can all sit, they can all have their own seat, their own seat belts. There's no bump seats or anything crazy like that. And then if you don't have kids, you can take, you know, 3 of your friends instead of just 1. Which is a party. If you guys have ever, you know, just kind of gone booze cruising through the woods with 4 people in the whip, and you know you got tunes cranking and everyone's having a great time. It's just a little bit more fun than just 2 of you. So that was my biggest reason to get a 4-seater, is literally so I can have 4 people in the vehicle with me to go cruising through the woods. The next reason that I think that the 4-seat RZR is so much better, in my opinion, than the 2-seat RZRs is that the longer wheelbase has a lot of advantages, and I think a lot of more advantages than disadvantages. When you're riding this, you get a much better ride, because anything that has a longer wheelbase has a much better ride, all other things equal. For example, if you guys remember the old Ford Bronco 2s with the short little wheelbase, it was like you were going down the road and it just bucks, you know, at every little bump or whatever, versus something that's really long like a Expedition EL or a Suburban or an Excursion that typically has a pretty smooth ride because it is so long. And that 4-door wheelbase gives you that really nice smooth ride that, you know, is really nice for when you're out, you know, just riding. From a practical perspective on the trail, this long wheelbase can give you an advantage of, for example, if you're going up an incline, you can get these front tires up on top of the hill, whereas these may still be, you know, down lower. And if you only had a 2-seater, you know, your front wheel would be like right here, and you would still be just trying to struggle to get up that incline. Whereas this one will already be gripping over top of the hill and, you know, pulling you up, versus you just trying to get up with a 2-seater. And that's that long wheelbase that facilitates that. In addition to that, if you guys have ever gotten in some really off-camber, twisty situations with the smaller wheelbase of the 2-seater, you end up completely on the obstacle oftentimes, and so you're over like this, and you may actually not be able to make it because, you know, you risk flipping over. Whereas on this longer wheelbase, these fronts here, as you're coming down this thing that goes like this, these fronts may be coming out someplace that's level or back like this, and so it keeps the vehicle more stable because you're getting your front end on either level ground or just a different angle than you were before. And then vice versa in the back end. Maybe you're going into something that's off camber, but that rear end keeps you from really tilting up too far before you can get, you know, over that obstacle. That's just something I found when you get into, you know, twisties, especially riding up like creeks and such like that, that the long wheelbase really helps keep this thing feeling very stable. And then the third thing that I really like about 4-seat side-by-sides is that you have all this cargo space back here. So even if you don't have 4 people riding with you on a regular basis, you don't have to try to squeeze all of your stuff into this little tiny bed. because you know these RZRs don't have a very big bed. If you got a cooler in here, it takes up most of the bed space. There's just not a lot of bed space. So if it's just even like you and a friend, or you and your girlfriend or wife or boyfriend or whatever, I don't know, whatever you do, you have all this space. So for example, I put my recovery straps down here. So even if there is someone in the back here, they just put their feet on, it's no big deal. I'll usually take a soft-sided cooler with me actually on the trail. I have it strapped back here right now, but I usually don't have a giant cooler because this thing will hold like 12 beers or soda pop or whatever you want to put in there. But if we're going and doing something gnarly, I'll just put it back in the back here as well. And then one of the biggest advantages I found with this, when I just go to my property and I have to load everything up, instead of trying to load everything in the bed of my truck out in the driveway, I'll just bring it out here in the nice garage. I'll put everything in here. I'll stuff stuff down there. I'll put my firearms across the seats here, put stuff on top of that. Then I have all this room back here to put the cooler in here, pop my generator down in the front seat, wheel well there, and there's just so much room where I can take and load this stuff up before I even leave in a nice garage. And as long as it's not going to be raining and pouring on the way down to where I'm going, I can just leave it all back here, drive it on the trailer, and then when I get to the place that I'm going, because a lot of times I can't get my truck and trailer right to where I want to unload, I can just back this thing off, gear and all, take it straight down to my cabin or wherever I'm staying, and I only have to handle it twice. I just load the stuff up, and then I unload it versus loading it into the truck, driving to where I'm going, loading it into the RZR, then taking the RZR to wherever I'm staying and unloading it to where I'm staying. So that is a huge deal for me, is just having this cargo space, and is a reason why even if I was just buying one of these for myself or for just me and a friend or spouse or girlfriend or whatever, I would still get the 4-seater on the space alone. Now, with all of that being said, I also understand why people don't like the 4-seaters. They're long. I mean, this is a 2012 800, and it's one of the shorter ones. And I think that they're still about the same length through the 900 and 1000 4-seat S models. But the XPs that I've seen are just, they're like limousines. They're super long. I have another video where I drive through the woods and this is actually really early into my side-by-side driving career, so to speak, where I showed that it is good in the dense woods. You can make it happen in the dense woods and tight trails, but you do have to use reverse a couple more times because it's just longer and it doesn't turn as well. So I can understand where people that really just want to be able to zip in and out would rather have a 2-seater, and that's cool. That's cool. It's not, you know, your preference is cool with me. Another thing that obviously is a negative that I said was a positive earlier, but it's this wheelbase, and because you do end up hitting the bottom of this quite a bit in the middle, especially if you go up a lot of very steep banks, like creek banks and stuff that go up and then level out. This ends up being like your 5th tire. So be sure that if you have one of these, you put a solid aftermarket skid plate on there. This has a 3/8 ultra high molecular density plastic skid plate. It's worked awesome. I haven't had any problems with it. But just know that these 4-seaters, they, you know, which I'm sure people probably are aware of, that they do end up scraping the bottom here. You know, bigger tires would help me out, maybe a little bit of lift or something like that, but you know, for the most part, it's not a big deal. That is just one of the things that you have to keep in mind with the longer wheelbase ATV is scraping the bottom, and you may have to back up and turn more often, do like an Austin Powers back up and go forward type of turning thing, or just be cognizant and have it in 2-wheel drive and be ready to mat the pedal so that you can skid that back end around, you know, and make that turn work for you. So that's my 2 cents on the 4-seat versus 2-seat RZR or whatever UTV that you may be looking at. I will probably always have a 4-seater as long as I can, you know, see moving forward. Between the better ride, the better handling, being able to use those front wheels to get grip over top of obstacles, more cargo space, more room for people, friends. You know, if you're an early 20s guy, you can fit 3 girls in there versus 1. That's a major advantage. Plus a cooler, you're in good shape. So those are my reasons why I like the 4-seater better than the 2-seater. If you disagree with me, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of people who disagree with me, leave me a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. Be sure to like this video. It really helps me out. Even if you're a 2-seater guy, I would really appreciate that. I appreciate you guys watching today, and I'll see you the next time.